you guys smell that? I think somebody's just making some butter. All right, here we go. Day 2, we're going to start putting in some vent work. We did the layout and drilled out some holes the other day. Now we got the supply truck here, and we've got a shitload of pipe. No pun intended. We've got about 900 feet of poop slide here, weighing in at 60 feet of 4-inch Schedule 40, 300 feet of 3-inch Schedule 40, 300 feet of 2-inch Schedule 40, and 200 feet of 1.5-inch Schedule 40. Gonna make quite the poop coaster here. Like I said in the day 1 video, we're gonna try and get into as much of this stuff as possible. There is a lot going on in these big custom houses, so you guys are gonna get to see a lot of different stuff. Hopefully I can touch on as much as possible, but first off, we're gonna unload this truck, and holy crap, this is a lot. This is just a third of it. We still got copper to order, gas pipe, miscellaneous things in between. There's only so much that you can think of when it comes to these places. I actually forgot to order the closet collars and a couple of extra fittings, more specialty stuff, but we'll get it along the way. Don't worry. All right, here we go. The delivery truck has dropped off the material. Did something a little different than I normally do. I've done quite a few of these custom houses, and sometimes it gets pretty chaotic, but I saw some other videos of people doing this, so I figured I'd give it a try. Didn't even take all that long, but I went ahead and itemized all the material, got it laid out so it's easy to find. Hopefully it works out. Hopefully it wasn't a waste of my time, but I guess we're gonna see. Alrighty, so now we're gonna start with our wall work. I'm not sure exactly how other people do it. This is just the way I was taught. I'm gonna get my wall work put in first. That way I can figure out where everything's going up, and then I have something to tie onto into the attic. I prefer to do it that way than dropping it down from the attic. It's just one way to do it. I don't know. If anybody does it different, let me know in the comments. I'd be interested to see how other people do it. But you see me there putting a coupling at the top. So if I don't have anything coming across the wall to hold the pipe up into the attic, I like to put couplings up there. That way it holds the pipe in place, and then I can just glue another piece in. Got a little bit hanging below the floor as well. Right here, I don't know if other people do this, but I kind of figured out over time that if you just drill the hole slightly offset, you can get a bigger piece in instead of just a 16-inch piece in between the wall cavity. So sometimes you got to beat it in, but that's all right. You can get an extra 16 inches out of it if you drill the hole sideways. So like I explained earlier, I actually have a vent bar coming across this wall. So I was able to glue a T in, no need for a coupling up top. And I'm just gonna go ahead and make sure all my drops are level, get everything cut to size, and we're gonna drop it down to the first floor. And I'll show you when we get down to the first floor, but some of it's vent, some of it's gonna be waste. It'll all get sorted out accordingly. Well, we got a little bit of time watching me put in some of this wall work. So I'll go ahead and explain to you guys a little bit about how I got my start. I've been doing this for 8 years. I worked with another guy, an awesome mentor. He taught me a lot. And we used to do new construction for a smaller company, kind of, I don't mean to be offensive, but they were kind of cookie cutter houses. And I got to do a lot of those. And it was kind of the same 3 houses over and over and over again. So that's where I got pretty good at waste pipe and learned how to be fast. I kind of learned a couple cheat codes when it comes to making some measurements. And sometimes when you're doing this stuff, if you're not trying to exactly hit a hole or a center, you don't really need to measure as much as you think. You can kind of put fittings wherever you want. Like if you're cutting in a Y or a T, like I said, as long as you're not hitting a hole or a center, if you've got a scrap piece laying on the ground, use it. Why not? A vast majority of my work that I've done over the last 8 years has been new construction, and a lot of custom homes in the mix as well. quite a few remodels, basement bathrooms. Like I said, we did some of those tract houses for a while. Lots of different things. I got to learn a lot of different things. Lots of failures along the way too. The rough is really important because if you do the rough correctly, the trim will be easy. But if you cheap out on the rough and try and go too quick, you're left with a lot of BS at the end. And the homeowners are always itching to get moved in, so you got to move quick. It's definitely not a good feeling to be pressured tying up loose ends on the trim. So take a little bit extra time, make sure your rough is good, make sure it looks good. Don't have primer all over the place. What if the homeowner walks in and sees that stuff? You want to make it at least look like you know what you're doing. Am I right? But here we go. I'm just going to go ahead and walk around, show you guys some of my wall work. In the next portion of the video, we're going to get going on some attic work. All in all, I think it looks pretty clean.
If you fall off the top of that ladder, you never worked for me.
I'm locked in.
Oh, okay.
Alrighty, we got Chaser working on some of the radon pipe. Got to keep him busy while I get this stuff laid out. And then we got the generator running down in the basement. It's pumping out some water. So once that's done, he'll be downstairs starting the underground. So right here, I'm just nailing in my pop-ups. That way I can get the vent pipe in the attic supported, keep it nice and straight. We're going to go ahead and start gluing on our fittings. This is going to be the first fitting in the attic. So I'm going to put a 3x2 bushing in the ass end of this fitting, and I'm allowed to reduce the pipe right there because I have the 2-inch portion of the T, the branch, looking straight down. So no water is going to pool up inside that fitting. If you don't have it down on at least a 45-degree angle, that is a no-go. So it's got to be either straight down or on a 45-degree angle, and then you can bush the pipe down. So this 2-inch that I'm getting ready to glue in, this is the toilet vent for the bathroom that I am currently above. As you can see, it's tight. My head's banging against the roof, but that's all right. We'll get done with it pretty quick and move on to a little bit more spacious portion of the attic. All right, right here, it looks like I'm lost, but I'm not. Like I said earlier, this stuff takes a lot of planning. So here I am just looking around, making sure that the plan in my head is going to be executed, make sure that I don't blow past anything on the wall. I've done my fair share of that over the years, and it is a lot harder to cut a T in once everything else is glued than to just take your time, be aware of your surroundings, look at everything, and get it done the first time. As you can see, it's a little bit easier to get 10-footers up into the attic. 20-footers, sometimes that is not fun. You have to be a geo-magician or some crap to figure out how to get them up there, but it works out. Here I am getting my pit vent for the basement glued in, and we're going to keep moving along. This is our main stack. So each house has to have a main stack, and that's going to go all the way from the sewer coming into the house to the roof. Now, I decided to tie it into my toilet, so it's also serving as the toilet vent, but it doesn't matter what it's venting. You have to have a main stack, no matter what. It can be a 3x1.5 inch T picking up a lav, a 3x2 T picking up a gray box, or a 3-inch T picking up a toilet. Either way, gotta have one. Here it is. I decided to eyeball my 45. Honestly, that's pretty much the way that I do it. I've tried to sit there and take measurements and whatnot, and it still always ends up being off, because as straight as we think houses are, they're not always perfect. So I ended up having to pull it out with the hammer. Oh well, cut it down a little bit more, get it close, figure out my transfer piece, and boom, here we go, gluing it in. Water level in the basement is going down, so we're going to start moving some gravel around. We're going to dig a 10-foot wide trench for the radon, and here we go, digging out the start of the pit. So I was able to get all the vent work done, didn't get all of it on camera. It's a lot moving that thing around. Sometimes you just need to get going, but I'm going to show you everything. Here we go with the main stack. That's that 3-inch T. And then we're going to go out the roof with that. Picking up the gray box, main stack, vent bar, tub vent to the left. Making a turn, kitchen vent, pit vent. Onto the next bathroom. And there we go. That's the vent work. Here's a little shot that I decided to get from up top, so you can see it a little bit better. I was happy with the way it turned out. Even got that nice 45 offset on the radon. Old Chaser did. Not bad stuff. Now, I just got done telling Chase, hey, let's stay a little bit later, get this underground done. It'll make tomorrow a little bit easier. And of course, the pump decides to stop working. I mean, she chugged along all day, pumped out a lot of water. I don't know how much, but you can see all the footing is wet around. It was up maybe about 1.5 inches, 2 inches. It's not a giant basement, but apparently there was a lot of water down there, and it just decided to quit. So we're going to have to take this thing back to Home Depot and see if we can get a new one, and do the underground on a later date. Part of it sometimes. I guess that's my fault for buying a cheap sump pump. Well, if you managed to make it to the end of this video, I appreciate it. There's more to come. We're going to try and go over everything in this house as much as possible. But until next time, your shit is our bread and butter.